Hello, welcome to Permian Pop Quiz. You're going to first learn a little bit about this awesome geologic time period before we start getting to the intense questions. So let's begin. So now it's time to learn a little bit about the Permian time period. The first thing you should know is when it happened. The Permian time period happened about 299 million years ago and ended around 251 million years ago. The best way to begin to learn about the Permian time period is understand the geography. As you can see, there was one huge supercontinent called Pangaea, and it was in the shape of a C. Around that supercontinent was a huge ocean called Panthalassa. At least that's how I hope you say it. So now, what does that mean for the climate? The climate during this time was quite varied. Continental landmasses create climates with extreme variations of hot and cold. The desert seemed to have taken over the inner part of the continent due to the lack of water around that would help regulate the land. But because the Permian period started off as an ice age, back due to the other periods, the south was still arid and covered in ice. So, what kind of animals lived in this climate? First, we are going to talk about the animals that thrived on the land. Two important groups of animals dominated the landscape: the synapsids and the sauropsids. The synapsids we're going to talk about first. This group ended up leading to the mammals. We have two examples here on my left. One is called the Pelycosaurus, and we also have a Dimetrodon. Unfortunately, most of these animals became extinct due to the tragic event that ended up happening at the end of this time period. But let's move on to the second group of the land animals. The second group of animals that we're going to discuss, as I said in the previous video, is sauropsids. This is more of a broad classification of different kinds of reptiles. These are the ancestor of reptiles and ended up leading to the dinosaur age because this group of animals, for the most part, survived the mass extinction that happened at the end of the Permian period. Let's now move on to my favorite part, the marine life. The Permian marine deposits have a lot of fossil mollusks, echinoderms, and brachiopods. Shallower water fossils show large and diverse ecosystems with numerous sponge and coral species, as seen to the right. Now that we've talked about the animals that thrive through the land and water, we can't forget about the creepy crawling things, the insects. The most successful insects were relatives of cockroaches. For example, the arthropod that is shown on to the left. Insects during this time, as seen on the left, developed and modified mouthparts to suck the plant materials because that was one of the only source of food for insects during this time due to the extreme climates. I'm going to discuss the most important part about the Permian period. That's the mass extinction. This ended the period and resulted in the largest mass extinction in Earth's history. Scientists estimate that 95% of marine life and 70% of land life died and went extinct. It is unclear about how the Great Dying occurred, but some scientists believe that the formation of Pangaea caused the plates to move in divergent and convergent boundaries, causing massive volcanic eruptions. This is due to the evidence of massive flood basalts in the strata. This volcanic activity also caused drastic change in the climate, causing gases to suffocate and kill the animals, along with the running lava. Another theory that is also thought to be true is that an asteroid hit. It is very unlikely, though, due to the lack of evidence in the strata. Okay, just kidding. It's time for the Permian Pop Quiz. Now, because I know I'm an awesome teacher and you guys retain your knowledge very well, I'm sure you guys are going to do great. But let me tell you the rules of how this is going to work out. So, what's going to happen is there's going to be a question on the screen. I'm going to give you about 5 to 8 seconds to answer it. Think of it in your head so you guys can all participate in this amazing presentation. Anyways, so what's going to happen is I'm going to give you about 5 to 8 seconds. Answer it, whatever. Then a video is going to pop up of either Mark and Chelsea battling it out for the right answers. The video is going to show the right answer, so your job is to check your answers with theirs. If it's wrong, that's okay. Just learn it. Next time you'll be fine. Ready to play?
I believe the Permian was from 299 million years ago to 251 million years ago.
Mark, what do you think it is?
D. Atlantic.
And Chelsea?
C. Panthalassa.
Chelsea's right. Mark sucks.
There is one continent called Pangaea.
Well, the climate was very extreme due to only having one ocean to regulate the climate, because the inner is very hot and dry and the outer is moist.
The south was icy and arid due to the glaciers from the ending of the Ice Age from the previous period, and the north had extreme seasonal variations from wet to dry.
C!
A.
B.
Chelsea's right, it's B. Sorry, Mark.
D. Matrodon, Pelisasaurus, and Listriosaurus.
Insects develop mouthparts to suck the seeds out of plants. This is called Odricek.
Mass extinction is where some animals died.
The mass extinction was the largest mass extinction in Earth's history. Most scientists believe that extreme volcanic activity caused lava flooding and produced too much CO2 and methane into the air, and both consequences ended up killing and wiping out most of the species.